All right, good evening, and thank you for viewing the October 2nd meeting of the Arcata City Council. The City Council meeting is being held as a hybrid meeting with both in-person attendance and teleconference access via Zoom. We'll start with the land acknowledgement. The City of Arcata acknowledges that the lands we are located on are the unceded ancestral lands of the Wiyot tribe. The land that Arcata rests on is known in the Wiyot language as Gudini, meaning over in the woods or among the redwoods. Past action by local, state, and federal governments removed the Wiyot and other indigenous peoples from the land and threatened to destroy their cultural practices. The City of Arcata acknowledges that the Wiyot community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement seeks to aid in dismantling the legacy narratives of settler colonialism. If you would like to join me, please join me for the pledge. Will the city clerk please call roll?
Mayor Matthews.
Here.
Vice Mayor Stillman.
Present.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Councilmember Atkins Salazar.
Here.
Councilmember White.
Here.
All present.
Okay, thank you. First is ceremonial matters. We have the proclamation in recognition of Fire Prevention Week, October 6th through 12th, 2024, and this proclamation will be read by Councilmember Stillman.
So, proclamation in recognition of Fire Prevention Week, October 6th through the 12th, 2024. Whereas home, the place people often feel safest from fire, is actually where they are at the greatest risk, with 74% of all U.S. fire deaths occurring in homes. And whereas people are more likely to die in a home fire today than they were in 1980. Newer homes are built with lightweight materials that burn faster than older home constructions, and many of today's products and furnishings produce toxic gases and smoke that burn, making it impossible to see and breathe within moments. These conditions create a much shorter time frame, as little as 1 to 2 minutes for people to escape after the smoke alarm sounds. Whereas paying attention to your surroundings and looking for available exits in the event of a fire or other emergency, taking the smoke alarm seriously if it sounds, you can make a potential life-saving difference in a fire or other emergency. And whereas in 2024 Fire Prevention Week theme, Smoke Alarms, Make Them Work for You, promotes potential life-saving messages that can mean the difference between life and death in a fire. The 2024 Fire Prevention Campaign's key to action is to install, test, replace smoke alarms to ensure proper function to alert all household members, including those with sensory or physical disabilities. Whereas home fire escape plans should be developed by all household members and practiced twice a year to ensure that everyone knows what to do in a real fire. And whereas Arcata's first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrences of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education, and now therefore it be proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata hereby recognizes October 6th through the 12th, 2024 as Fire Prevention Week throughout this community. And the council is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Arcata, and urges Arcadians to participate in the many public safety activities and efforts of the Arcata Fire District Emergency Services during Fire Prevention Week 2024. It's dated October 2nd, 2024, it's signed by Mayor Matthews. And our fire chief, Chris Emmons, will be here to receive it.
First, Mayor and Council, thank you for recognizing the importance of this, because every year we have about 360,000 residential fires nationwide, and annually there's about 2,200 lives lost. With a smoke alarm, which is what the theme is for this Fire Prevention Week, it reduces it by 60%. So taking a moment to recognize this and proclaim it. really helps us and brings attention to it. And I'm going to put a shameless plug in here too, that we have our fire prevention open house up at our McKinleyville station on Saturday from 10 to 2. And if anyone's interested, we'll have a bunch of our partners and vendors up there with us that will be talking about different things. We'll have some insurance folks, we'll have Arcata PD, we'll have their command van up there with us to demonstrate it for the kids. And if weather and availability cooperates with us, we should have 2 helicopters landing behind the station from CAL FIRE and Cal OR Life Flight. So encourage everyone if they have time. I know it's pastels on the plaza, and I hope to make it by the end of the day, come back down. So, but if everybody has time, encourage you to come by, and we will be giving out smoke alarms up there. So,
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you so much. Our next proclamation recognizing October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month will be read by Councilwoman Atkins Salazar.
Whereas October is annually recognized as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month and progress continues to be made toward violence prevention, and whereas domestic and intimate partner violence remains a serious issue affecting all people regardless of age, race, ethnicity, sex, gender, socioeconomic status, literacy, sexuality, ability, religion, culture, and immigration status. And whereas domestic and intimate partner violence survivors are deprived of dignity, security, and autonomy with the systematic use of control and power through physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic abuse. And whereas children exposed to domestic violence can experience long-term consequences, including difficulty at school, substance abuse, behavioral problems in adolescence, and serious health problems into adulthood. And whereas Humboldt Domestic Violence Services has been serving Humboldt County since 1977 to continuously support all those living with or escaping abuse. And whereas all survivors deserve access to culturally responsive prevention programs and services to increase their safety and self-sufficiency. HDVS enlists a diverse array of allies, agencies, and community members in supporting survivors of domestic violence and intimate partner violence. Whereas, only together can we change the health and safety of our community by challenging the societal norms and that perpetuate violence. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata recognizes the month of October 2024 to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The council celebrates HDVS's 47 years of efforts to improve community safety by breaking the cycle of domestic and intimate partner violence. And we have today Jeff Delgadillo, who is the Safe Haven Director, here to accept this.
Hi again, Jeff Delgadillo on behalf of Humboldt Domestic Violence Services. I want to thank all of you for recognizing that this is a very prevalent and very serious issue that impacts our community, and recognizing the work that we do as being one of the sole domestic violence agencies. This is not really an issue that's going away anytime soon, so all we can do is call attention to it to reduce any of the shame and stigma that comes from it, and empowering any survivor to actually reach out for help, because it's okay to go through this stuff, and then there are people here to help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And our last proclamation is recognizing September 15th through October 15th, 2024 as Latinx Heritage Month, and this proclamation will be read by Councilmember White.
Whereas the City of Arcata proudly recognizes Latinx Heritage Month, celebrated annually from September 15th to October 15th, as a time to honor the rich histories, cultures, and lasting contributions of Latinx Americans, individuals whose ancestors hail from Mexico, the Caribbean, Central and South America, and Spain, as well as recent immigrants and their families who now call Arcata home, and whose culture and traditions enrich the fabric of our community. And whereas the Latinx community in Arcata has long played a significant role in shaping the city's cultural, social, economic landscape, contributing to vital areas such as education, agriculture, public service, environmental advocacy, business, the arts, and culinary traditions, while also deeply enriching the Arcata community through its traditions, creativity, gastronomy, resiliency, honor the family, and affirm cultural identity and history, fostering a more meaningful, inclusive, and diverse character of our city. And whereas Arcata recognizes the importance of honoring and uplifting the voices and contributions of Latinx community members in promoting equity, social justice, environmental sustainability, and food justice, values that align with the city's ongoing commitment to building a just, sustainable, and inclusive future for all. And whereas Latinx Heritage Month provides an opportunity for all Arcatans to celebrate the accomplishments, influence, and contributions of the Latinx community, while also reflecting on the ongoing efforts needed to address the disparities and challenges faced by Latinx residents and other historically underserved communities. And whereas Arcata is proud to be a sanctuary city, reaffirming its commitment to protect and support immigrant communities, ensuring that all residents, regardless of immigration status, can live without fear and contribute to the city's social, cultural, and economic vitality, and now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata hereby recognizes September 15th through October 15th, 2024 as the Latinx Heritage Month in the City of Arcata, and call upon all residents to honor, celebrate, and support the continued contributions of Latinx Americans, both past and present, in shaping the future of our community. Dated October 2nd, 2024, by our Mayor, Meredith Matthews. And I'm going to be presenting this to Laura Moonwes.
He has not raised his hand.
Thank you so much, City Council, Mayor, City Manager, hello, and staff, for recognizing, acknowledging, valuing the contributions and the value of the Latinx community in our community. Thank you for that. And if I may, I'd like to read it in Spanish. El mes de la herencia Latinx. Proclamación reconociendo el 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre como mes de la herencia Latinx. Considerando que la ciudad de Arcata reconoce con orgullo el mes de la herencia Latinx, que se celebra anualmente del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre como un momento para honrar la rica historia, cultura y contribuciones fundamentales de los latinoamericanos, individuos cuyos antepasados provienen de México, el Caribe, Centroamérica, Sudamérica y España, así como los inmigrantes más recientes y sus familias, que ahora consideran a Arcata y su hogar y cuya cultura y tradiciones enriquecen el tejido de nuestra comunidad. Y considerando que la comunidad Latinx en Arcata ha desempeñado durante mucho tiempo un papel importante en la configuración del panorama cultural, social e económico de la ciudad, contribuyendo a áreas vitales como la educación, la agricultura, el servicio público, la defensa ambiental, los negocios, las artes y las tradiciones culinarias, al mismo tiempo que enriquece profundamente a la comunidad de Arcata a través de sus tradiciones, creatividad, gastronomía y fortaleza que honran a la familia, afirman la identidad cultural y la historia, fomentando un carácter más significativo, inclusivo y diverso para nuestra ciudad. Y considerando que Arcata reconoce la importancia de honrar y elevar las voces y contribuciones de los miembros de la comunidad Latinx en la promoción de la equidad, la justicia social, la sostenibilidad ambiental y la justicia alimentaria, valores que se alinean con el compromiso continuo de la ciudad de construir un futuro justo, sostenible e inclusive para todos. Almost there. Y considerando que el mes de la herencia Latinx brinda una oportunidad para que todos los habitantes de Arcata celebren los logros, influencia y contribuciones de la comunidad Latinx y al mismo tiempo reflexionar sobre los esfuerzos continuos necesarios para abordar las disparidades y desafíos que enfrentan a los residentes Latinx y otras comunidades históricamente desatendidas. Y Considerando que Arcata se enorgullece de ser una ciudad santuario, reafirmando su compromiso de proteger y apoyar a las comunidades de inmigrantes, asegurando que todos los residentes, independientemente de su estatus migratorio, puedan vivir sin miedo y contribuir a la vitalidad social, cultural y económica de la ciudad. Y ahora, por lo tanto, se proclama que el Consejo Municipal de la ciudad de Arcata reconoce el periodo del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre de 2024 como el mes de la herencia Latinx en la ciudad de Arcata. Alentamos a todos los residentes a honrar, celebrar y apoyar las continuas contribuciones de los latinoamericanos, tanto del pasado como del presente, que dan forma al futuro de nuestra comunidad.
Gracias, Laura.
Thank you so much. That brings us to council and staff reports. Are there any staff reports? Any staff reports?
Sorry, I have nothing to report.
All right. Then council reports. Councilwoman Schaefer, we'll start with you.
Just wanted to remind everybody that tomorrow evening, they're going to be showing the film The Big Yellow Bus, about the first trip down to Quimhuapa, Nicaragua, with the Sister City Project. And so that's going to be tomorrow at the Playhouse at 6:30. It's a great film, and I recommend checking it out. And I won't get too deep into the last RCEA meeting because it was very fun and interesting and controversial. And we did not accept a nuclear allocation from the CPUC. So if you're interested in that and that's something you want to talk about or read up more on, I would recommend watching that meeting or reach out to me. Okay, thanks.
Thanks. So I did have my HCOG meeting last week, and construction for Last Chance Grade will actually begin in 2030. They did, if you don't know, settle on the tunnel option. So it is going to be a tunnel that's a mile long, and that came out to be the best option. So that's exciting that that will move forward. There was a lot going on the past couple weeks. I went to the police open house that coincided with North Country Fair, so got to do both of those, and that it was fun to see folks out for that. There was also a collaboration, including CUNA hosting a Oaxacan Writers event, and that was at the New Woodsman Hall, and I won't go too deep into that because Kimberly might want to focus on it, but it was a wonderful experience, and I'm glad that we could be part of that. And the Bayside Corners host a series of speakers, and Brenda Perez from Centro del Pueblo spoke about the Sanctuary Garden, and that was a really lovely presentation as well, and it was fun to be out there at the Temperance Hall in Bayside. And I went with the mayor on a ride-along with Sergeant Scown, and we got to tour parts of the city and have some good discussion, so that was great. And I guess finally, just I had a question about the budget, and I was like, oh, we have new software. This should be easy. I went right on, was able to find the budget on the website. No trouble at all. It was a really easy experience. I think I just Googled it, and it took me to OpenGov. So if you do have questions, it's very easy to use. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
So I had an Humboldt Transit Authority meeting today, and one of the things I received an email on, not from Humboldt Transit Authority, but from the Open Door Clinic in Arcata, and they're concerned about the bus stop for the clinic. Actually, there isn't one. There's one by the skateboard, and how can they get patients or people in and out? So I think that is going to be something that we'll be dealing with as far as transit in the city of Arcata. And another item that I think is going to be quite exciting is the public transit intercity bus network, and it's going to be called North State. So it's going to be a way to be able to connect from, well, you can get up from Crescent City, Arcata. Eventually you'll be able to get to Redding. You'll be able to go down to Leggett. You'll be able to make it all the way to San Francisco. When you go to Redding, you'll be able to pick up a bus that'll eventually take you to eventually I don't think it'll be too long, to Sacramento Airport and into Sacramento. So it's a whole project that the various counties have been working on in order to put transit together, because we know that Greyhound is no longer operating in our area. And Amtrak really doesn't want to come any further north than Ukiah. So what they're asking is that something else networks down to Ukiah, and then people can go from there south. So I just wanted to report that. We gave direction to our staff to continue with this project and be interconnecting with the other organizations that run transit in various parts. So right now, you could go to Reading. You'll be able to go to Reading in 4 hours, but it'll take a long time to come back, about 8, because the systems aren't coordinated yet. So they plan on making those systems coordinate so you can easily move back and forth. And so I think that's something that's going to be very exciting for us in the future. The Earth Center, which is a project that HTA is going to be involved in Eureka, and the ground floor, the majority of the ground floor will be the transit center. And so they'll have all the connections happening there in Eureka. And the upper 3 floors will be housing, and Yantco is going to be the developer for the upper 3 floors. And that'll all be income qualified. And I thought the event at the North Country Fair, where we had the electric bus there with the feet of Bigfoot walking over to the bus, was very successful. And it was highly enjoyed by young children, because once they went over and they played a little game, and then they got a ticket, and then they could go on the bus and they could put it exactly where the bus ticket would go, and then they won a prize. And so it was very highly enjoyable. And starting in another month, we're going to have our new tickets for the buses. So you have a 1-day pass, a 7-day pass, a month pass, and those will all be really easy to use. And so pardon me? Am I too long?
I mean, keep going.
Well, normally I don't talk very much about HTA or anything that's going on with them, so I just wanted to finish up. I also wanted to mention that we have a chamber mixer tomorrow. It's at Haliashi, and after you go to that, you can go over to the Playhouse and you can go to the movie. And so it was brought to my attention, probably in the past too, that when we look at our pictures, you can see this wall that just goes up 1, 2, 3. And is there a possibility of bringing this artwork down further on the wall so that you could actually see it in our background? So I'm just bringing that forward. Thank you.
Most of my meetings are upcoming, so I don't have a whole lot to report. Just to say that the Hoakan Authors Reading that was sponsored by Cal Poly Humboldt and Equity Arcata was a huge success, so I was happy to see a lot of folks there. We had over 70 attendees at the new Valley West Resilient Hub. There's a Clean and Sidewalk event this weekend on Sunday from 9 to 11 in Valley West. Had another food truck Friday out at Carlson Park, hosted by Los Guias. Also be on the lookout for some upcoming murals that are hosted by the ARPA, or funded by the ARPA Rescue Plan Act all around town. And then just finally, both the children's new playground and the pickleball courts are getting a lot of use at the Carlson Park. So if you haven't checked out those new renovations, I encourage you. There's a wonderful new trail to the Mad River, which I might add is the only access to the river within the city limits. And that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you. That'll bring us to early oral communication. The City Council values your comments. The public comment period allows people to address the council on matters that are not on the agenda. This early section of public comment is limited to 15 minutes, and speakers are limited to 2 minutes. If you prefer to have the full 3 minutes of time for your public comment, this item is continued at the end of this meeting, where speakers are granted 3 minutes. Please know that pursuant to the Brown Act, the council cannot discuss or take action on items not listed on the agenda. The council may respond to statements. There will also be time to provide public comment specific to each item when that item is being reviewed by the council. So please make your way to the podium, or raise your hand if you're on Zoom, or press *9 if you are calling on phone and wish to make a comment.
Is it possible to get 3 minutes, or, okay. Mark Dubrow, Arcata resident and homeowner. Hello. After a 7-year trial, a federal judge has just issued a pretty strong ruling against water fluoridation. There are a bunch of pithy quotes in the 80-page ruling from the federal court. I'll just read one. I had several, but in the interest of time. The issue before this court is whether the plaintiff The plaintiffs have established by a preponderance of the evidence that the fluoridation of drinking water at levels typical in the United States poses an unreasonable risk of injury to the health of the public within the meaning of amended TSCA, which is a Toxic Substances Control Act. For the reasons set forth below, the court so finds. Specifically, the court finds that fluoridation of water at 0.7 milligrams per liter, the level presently considered optimal in the United States, poses an unreasonable risk of reduced IQ in children. The court finds there is an unreasonable risk of such injury, a risk sufficient to require the EPA to engage with a regulatory response. So the federal court is forcing the EPA after a 7-year trial to finally regulate the toxic substance of fluoride. And the mantra of safe and effective for everyone, period, that was used for decades, the court found was just made up. It was based on nothing. So I say that now that you know this, every day that you don't stop fluoridation, it's going to put more kids at risk and the rest of us. Fluoride affects the blood-brain barrier. It affects kidney issues. Anybody with kidney or thyroid issues is at risk. So stop fluoridation as soon as we can for everybody's protection. Thanks. And I have a letter for you guys. Can I give that to somebody? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for early oral communication? Okay, come on.
Rhea, do I give these to you? This is for the city council. I'm going to keep them for a second. This is information for you guys. I don't know if you actually know what the city does, but the city is busy suing Bayside, 25 John Does, because they allege that we were blocking a project out there at the roundabout where the project's not supposed to be getting right-of-ways from anybody. It's not supposed to be using eminent domain on anybody, but they are. And they got a NEPA from Caltrans District 1 late after the project was 100%, no consultation, nothing, no historic review, nothing. And nobody in Bayside can say anything, do anything about it because, of course, we don't vote in Bayside. We vote in the county. I want to remind the city council, I hope you please hand those out, that we have sued you before for other things, like how much legal fees you're spending. Hundreds of thousands of dollars are being spent on this project. I've watched someone that was a private individual get bribed with federal dollars to have the tree cut down on their private property. Because it was in the way because the project was so poorly designed and has been so poorly designed that the numbers don't work. And so they're taking more and more land to do things. City of Arcata took 39 parking spaces from Bayside's 100, from the Grange, Mistwood School, and the schoolhouse. They're impacting a national registered historic property and trying to take public benefit away from the nation and give it to the city of Arcata for a gateway to Arcata. There's going to be a lot of problems about this project in the near future, and I hope you all look into it. Here's some of the material. Some of you have gotten material from me before, but I wanted to get this on the record. Dave Lloyd knows all about it. This man should be fired.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody on Zoom?
Nobody on Zoom.
All right, I'm going to close early oral communication and move over to the consent calendar. All matters on the consent calendar are considered to be routine by City Council and are enacted in one motion. There is no separate discussion of any of these items. If discussion is required, the item is removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. Item A is approve the minutes of the City Council special meeting of September 18th, 2024. B is approve the minutes of the City Council meeting of September 18th, 2024. C is bi-weekly report on disbursements. D is approve project plans and award construction contract for the Arcata Library Improvement Project to Adams Commercial General Contracting Incorporated in the amount of $266,334. Authorize the city manager to increase the contract amount by up to $21,282.72, 8%, for a total of $287,316.72, and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. E is to approve and award a construction contract for the 2024 Arcata Sanitary Sewer CCTV project to National Plant Services Incorporated in the amount of $332,667, authorize the city engineer to increase the contract amount by up to $66,533.40, 20%, for a total not to exceed $399,200.40. Oh, my goodness, I'm timing myself. How am I doing? Work is necessary and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. And F, adopt resolution number 245-10, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Arcata adopting the MORE Mobile Home Rehabilitation Program guidelines. Would any council member or staff like to remove any items from the consent calendar? Does anybody wish to make public comment on the consent calendar? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Well, then I would move to approve the consent calendar.
I will second.
All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor Stillman and a second by Councilwoman Schaefer. All in, yes?
Oh,
You have 3 minutes.
Consent calendar things, but I just noticed the minutes, I don't look at it all the time, but I looked at the library yesterday online, the agenda packet, and I noticed in the minutes that, if I'm saying something, it used to be kind of summarized what I said, and now it just said, I said something. I spoke. It doesn't say what I spoke about. And I'm just kind of curious if that's going to be the model for the future. And it's, it's just, I want to know. So it was interesting to see that.
City Manager Perry, can you address that really quickly?
Yeah, so one of the things I've been discussing with our city clerk is going from summary minutes to action minutes. Summary minutes are very time consuming for our city clerk to put together. And so most of the cities and all of them that are broadcasting or recording their cities are currently using action minutes instead of the more detailed summary minutes. And so in order to save time and be more efficient in our city clerk's office, we wanted to go to action minutes with the thinking that people could go back and watch the meeting if they wanted to have that detailed summary, or if it needed to be transcribed later, that it would be available.
Thank you so much. All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor Stillman and a second by Councilwoman Schaefer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. All right, we have new business first. New business is A, public scoping hearing on potential projects for funding under the State Community Development Block Grant, CDBG 2024 Notice of Funding Availability, NOFA. Can we have a staff report from Director of Community Development, David Loya?
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight we're holding 102 required meetings in order to be eligible to apply for Community Development Block Grant funding. This public hearing is required to scope out projects, and it's an opportunity for the public to bring forward projects that are not on our list, which is attached in the staff report attachment A. The list provides an ongoing list that we collect year over year of ideas for this funding source. Not all of them are eligible for CDBG funding in any given year, and so we just keep them on the list year over. A couple points I wanted to bring to your attention is that the planning and technical assistance and public services are linked in this NOFA. And so we received a couple of requests for public services to support homeless services in our community, and those are not eligible this year for us because we have an open planning and technical assistance grant for the Valley West Neighborhood Center. And then the projects are actually being applied for on a first come, first serve, what they call over-the-counter basis. And so we are going to be eligible for projects this year. I do have to let you know that we are, facing staff shortages, and capacity is an issue. This NOFA came out very, very late. Typically they come out in the spring. And so we were not anticipating it coming forward and haven't done a lot of the legwork that we typically do for these. And so we are working with a couple of our community partners, in particular on a multifamily rehab project with rural communities, and then on a behavioral health center with Mad River Hospital in the county, kind of being spearheaded by Connie Sturt and others. So those two we want to continue to take a look at. I can give you more information on those if you're interested, but at this point, I would recommend that you open the item for public comment, and we don't necessarily need action tonight. What staff will do from this point forward, we'll take the items that are on this, and then if we are able to apply, we'll come back with an application resolution and tell you what we think is most effective for us to be able to apply for in the NOFA.
Wonderful, thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I just, and it's probably just me, but how many can we approve? It looks like in paragraph 2, page 61, it says there's one over-the-counter project, one over-the-counter program, or one over-the-counter project and one over-the-counter program. So is there 2?
Yeah, we can do a total of 2 activities.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Yep.
Good question, Kimberly. Anybody else have any questions? All right, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Anybody want to make a public comment on this item for the CDBG grant?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Beth Matsumoto. I'm the Director of Multifamily Development for Rural Communities Housing Development Corporation. We've had a long-standing partnership with the City of Arcata to manage and develop affordable housing for low-income households. I just wanted to thank staff for keeping a robust list of projects and activities on your list. It's quite a good list of projects that are here in Arcata. The one that I'm here to speak on is the Bayview Courtyard Rehab Project. We did, actually, I know there's going to be time sensitivity to this. We had an inspection today to help move things forward. We'll have a capital needs assessment done prior to the over-the-counter application when it opens to facilitate the application, and we'd like to help staff with whatever we can. Bayview was built in 1998 in partnership with the City of Arcata, so there are some things that are out of date, some access ADA upgrades that we need to do. We'd like to do an energy upgrade as well as some common area upgrades. And we've done this type of project before, Arcata Gardens and Juniper, which are also partnerships with the City of Arcata. So we have the experience, and we thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you. Any other public comments on this? On Zoom?
No comments on Zoom.
All right, I'm going to bring this back to the council. If there are no other comments, what do I just do, close the public hearing?
That's correct.
All right.
And if you have, any insights you want to provide for us now, you can, but we're going to really need to assess the NOFA, our capacity, and our partnership before we come back with a recommendation for an application.
Wonderful, thank you so much. All right, I'm going to, go ahead.
I would like to make sure that we put the Behavioral Health Triage Center on our list. And the way right now Mad River Hospital has donated property, and the Humboldt County has applied and received, or they were awarded a $12 million grant. There is still a missing piece of money that needs to be done for that. And I sent you all Connie Stewart's information today so you could read what the behavioral health will be involved, how many beds there'll be, how they're going to handle crisis management, etc. But I think it's a really valuable item for us to have in Arcata, and we should really move forward on including that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Stillman. All right, if there's nothing else, I will close public comment. And I will open up oral and written communications. The City Council values your comments. This public comment period allows people to address the council on matters not on the agenda. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. So if you'd like to speak, come forward.
Greetings, my name's Joanne McGarry. I come here all the time, so anybody watching this for the first time, I bring an earth flag because I was going to bring a peace flag too, but I couldn't carry both of them. So I want to just remind us that what happens on earth anywhere in the world impacts us, both environmentally, socially. There's global issues that are going on that we can be a part of and do something to make it better. So I just want to say that war is one of the worst climate contributors to our climate in the world. So what happens in another part of the world affects us in this part of the world, both in terms of the actual greenhouse gas emissions that are emitted through war and the subsequent monies that are spent to allow the war machine to continue to pollute our environment and harm us. The hurricanes, unexpected, but not totally, that happened in North Carolina up in the mountains. It's the butterfly effect and all this kind of stuff. We had a talk about our investments, city investments last meeting, and I shared with you how the divestment movement is quite active in the United States as it is elsewhere, and Portland, Maine was one of the first cities to divest from companies doing business in Israel. And $8.5 billion was just sent by the United States to the state of Israel, and war is continuing and expanding. And, we do, as our tax dollars, have something to say about that, I do believe. And I just, want us to be conscious of what we're doing as a community. And that gets me to the point of, I have shared with you in the past how there is an International City of Peace movement out of Dayton, Ohio. Many cities throughout the world are part of it. There is a nonviolent city project through the Pachi Ibeni organization, and there's the Charter of Compassion. And if Arcata can get on the map saying we are a peaceful, nonviolent, compassionate place, that would be a beautiful thing to start 2025 with. So we have 3 months to look into this and maybe propose joining these peaceful, nonviolent, compassionate organizations as a city. And we really need a resolution to stop our tax dollars going to war.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to make public comment? Anybody on Zoom?
Nobody on Zoom.
All right. Well, we have a study session on October 30th. Thank you all for making this meeting so expedient. I appreciate it. Tonight at sundown is the first night of Rosh Hashanah. It's the Jewish New Year, so I wish you all Lashana Tova. I am praying and hoping that we will have peace this year, and that is it.